Hi, I'm James the Light Guy, and today we're going to try and make a rapid prototype of a Dodge Ram rear emblem with illuminated eyes. So this is a spare emblem that my colleague gave me off of his truck. He wants to have these eyes in the emblem backlit with LEDs that turn on with his brake lights. So we're going to try and figure out if we can make one ourselves or if he's going to have to buy one off the internet. So these are all of our supplies that we're going to use. This is just a prototype, so if it's not the prettiest or something doesn't work out quite well, we can try and problem solve that and build a better version in the future. For now, we're going to start with just some basic modeling clay. Soften it up so that we can make an impression of the emblem itself, so we can reuse that impression later as a negative mold. All right, I'm going to cut this thing open and start warming up some clay. All right, I've kneaded up a bunch of this clay. You'll have to excuse any extra noises. We got a lot going on in the studio today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break off a chunk of this clay, and we're just going to use this can to roll out a thinner film. There we go, that should do for our purposes. We'll peel this off the silicone mat and take our emblem and press it into the ram face. There we go, that should be good. Now we're just going to fill in some of the extra gaps here and thicken our mold. For good measure, let's just roll that on, make sure that we're pressing in real good. There we go. Now, in theory, if this releases properly, which I don't know if it will at the moment, we may need to wait for this to cool down a bit. Yeah, it seems to be stretching and deforming slightly, so yeah, that didn't work out perfectly well. What we'll do is we'll press this back on and let that cool. Once the clay has firmed up a bit, we should be able to peel it off more evenly. The same process can be done with silicone and some sort of release agent to make the mold proper, but I wasn't thinking that far ahead, so we were trying it with clay because I had clay lying around. All right, I'll be back in a bit. All right, we're back after it has cooled a bit and with a little wiggle. There you can see we have our negative mold with the eye shapes from the emblem. Now what we'll be able to do is Dremel out these eyes, and once they're just holes, we can put it back on and fill it with epoxy and it will get back the original shape. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this clay mold aside for now so it doesn't get damaged, and get to dremeling out these eye holes. Remember to wear eye protection when using any sort of rotary type tool. I'll be back in a minute. All right, I finished dremeling out the eye holes, as you can see there. The next step is to put it back in our mold. As you can see, we now have the correct shape for our eyes. And we'll mix up some epoxy. This is a 2-part clear epoxy with a 5-minute set time. Gonna go this way, so that way we can make a large batch. There we go. Get this thoroughly mixed. And now it's okay if it is hazy when it clears. In fact, I may actually want it hazy as to be part of a diffuser to make a more even light, depending on how well I align the chip inset in this resin. That being said, it's also going to have the chip inset into this resin, so it is not going to be a serviceable part in this proof of concept. So hopefully this provides enough heat distribution, and I'm not sure if I mentioned before, but this is a high-powered white LED chip. Ideally, I want to use a red LED chip and either have additional heat sinking or lower the power consumption so it doesn't overheat. All right, I think that's pretty thoroughly mixed. Let's get that poured in here. I probably should have added some sort of walls to keep that resin from spreading too much into the ram horn here. So let's grab a little bit of clay and try and make a dam. There we go. That should hopefully keep it from filling out too much. And we'll just inset our chip. Probably also should have made sure that this fit comfortably, which it doesn't at present. All right, time for a very bad idea. I'm gonna try and shave away this center support before the resin finishes curing. Covered my knife in epoxy. All right, now let's see if it fits. That's a little bit better. All right, we'll go with that. And scrape up a little bit more epoxy just to help retain that chip in place. All right, we'll give that some time to cure and we'll be back. All right, we're back after it has cured a bit. And you see we got a bit of the clay sticking to the piece. We're going to try and work some of that off gently. It looks like we had a little bit of an issue creating a seal, so clay may not be the best option for the finished product next time around. We'll clean that up. Let's grab a rag and see if we can get a little bit more off of there. All right, so far it looks pretty promising. Let's wet the rag a bit. All right, I'm gonna clean this up and I'll be back in a minute. All right, that actually came out much better than I expected. I thought the clay had leaked out resin, but it turned out just to be extra clay clinging onto the emblem. After washing off all the extra clay, we can grab our leads to our power supply. Whoops. A little bit of depth perception never hurt anyone, right? And power. All right, let's turn off the overhead lights. Again, this should be red lights that turn on with brake lights, but this is just proof of concept. Isn't that spectacular? All right, next thing we need to do is get this a little scuffed up, cleaned, and then we're going to hit it with a matte finish of a semi-translucent black paint to hide the difference between our clear epoxy and the chrome finish. So I'm going to sand this, paint it, and I'll be back in yet another minute. The paint's now all dry on the panel here. We can now take our electrode and take a look at it from all black. We have a bit of illumination through. As far as prototyping goes, this was a huge success. I do see a little bit of texture from the epoxy that we would need to smooth out for our next version. But like I said, as far as a prototype is concerned, I am very pleased with how this turned out. That's all I have for today's video. If you enjoyed it, give me that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and until next time, I'm James the Light Guy.